Okay, aloha class.
Aloha.
Okay, so before we start, what do you think about this picture?
Stressed.
Stress, okay. You think that the boy is stressed. What else? He's having
Exhausted.
exhausted,
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed,
Not having fun.
not having fun. So of all those things that you observe the boy is feeling or going through, if I say, do you like homework? Will you feel the same way this boy is feeling right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of homework. Should we allow kids to do homework? So is it good to have homework? So our lesson outcome, Megan, can you please read it? Thank you.
Student will be able to express, explain, and share their opinions to a certain topic.
Okay, so you'll be able to share as a pair and as a group about your opinion about the topic of having homework. Okay, but before that, just to remind you that as you share with one another and as you share with pairs, I would like to invite you to don't forget there are 2 rules in this class. First is to listen carefully, and second starts with letter R. Respect the opinion of your classmates. Okay, so we're gonna watch this video.
Any elementary school teacher watching this video knows this story because you've lived it. And I think if you give homework, it's pretty much inevitable. You give your students an assignment or a project to do at home, maybe a book report or a poster to make, maybe it's just a writing or a math assignment, and when it comes back, you know the work you get back from a student isn't their work. It's their parents. You assume some of these parents really have their son or daughter's best interest at heart, but know that parents couldn't help but take over. Or maybe you have a parent who just can't bear to watch their son or daughter fail, so they help more than they should. So why is it that we continue to assign homework to our students when we are always left wondering how much of the work is theirs versus how much was done by their parents? I know I'm not the first person to ever suggest that we move away from homework. In fact, a lot of what I believe is based on the most outspoken defender of a homework-free education, Alfie Kohn. However, I have a wish for elementary school students, their families, and their teachers to move away from giving homework so that our kids can enjoy their childhood and save the stresses of life for adulthood. Let's take a look at some of these comics which demonstrate a pervasive mindset around homework in the United States. This first comic, for instance, the dog mentions he would be wiser to sell homework to other kids than eating it himself, insinuating that no kid wants to do their homework. In the Foxtrot comic, the boy ends up admitting that he was sick of homework on the first day of school. And my favorite, I can't come out, I have to help my dad with my homework. Again, speaking to my point that parents all too often are doing their homework for their kids. So, why is this such a big problem, you ask? Well, in my mind, this is a problem of assessment and true knowledge of our students. In order to see what our kids can really do, we need to see the work they're doing in the classroom. So, how do we make this happen? Well, aside from the importance of communicating our vision with our families, I believe we can shorten our teaching times a little bit each week in order to make room for a work time in which we are there with our students to answer questions and to help them manage their workload and build independence within the hours of the school day. Of course, I have so much more to tell you about why I think this is the right choice for kids, but that's all the time I have. So I suggest you read Alfie Kohn's book, The Homework Myth, for inspiration and information. Thank you for listening.
Okay. So, before questions. Those who are pro can sit in this side, and those who think it should be banned in this side. Okay, I'll give you 5 seconds to go to the place that you're in. 5, 4, 3,
If you think we
Two.
should have it that side, if we shouldn't have it.
Can it be in the middle?
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's even number. That's good. Okay. So with a pair, find a pair that's the same opinion as you. Like if you're both pro, talk to each other. If you're cons, talk to each other. And the question is, should kids have homework?
This is we should.
And how do you feel about homework? Okay. So I'll give you 5 minutes to discuss. 3 minutes to discuss. Should kids have homework, and how do you feel about that? Okay.
I'm sort of torn, but I didn't have homework, pretty much any real homework until 4th grade. So my understanding is that they should have homework. They should be very good. Not to hurt people, because I saw homework that like helps students interact with their parents. So that homework was like pretty good, where they had to read certain words to their parents, and that was it. But I think that's a good homework.
And so I think that if we can have students get more spend more time with theirs, it makes that way better. I also think like
Have different.
it's okay if they have to take an assignment home. Like you can have them like give them classwork and just say whatever you don't finish you can do at home. That way it's not added assignments, and that way they can use their classroom time wisely, and they might not have homework. And then it's kind of like
Like give them that opportunity.
up to them how well they use their time in class. If they have to go home, and then maybe like give them reports or something, give them a week so that they can, or at least a weekend so that they have more time to do it.
Yeah. Just like yeah, I think the homework should be given like growing up I had only like spelling words, so I just have to read these word strategies. So it's very small, and that helps me learn the words.
Also, a lot of time homework can just be busy work. But I think maybe if we can use that, it's like family oriented. Like do a family assignment where the family goes and you walk around with one part or with one parent, at least one parent, and look for some chapter kind of thing.
Okay. Pause.
I think that's kind of it.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts to the pairs that are assigned to you. Now, what we're gonna do is to learn from each other. Okay? So there will be one representative in your pairs to share the things that you've talked about. Are you a pro or a con? So this group, are you pro or con?
Pro or con homework?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, we're against homework.
You're against homework. Okay. So can you share the things that you've taught?
We talked about how homework can be stressful and it adds extra stress. Sometimes it can just be busy work. That way you just have them do something. And it also takes away from family time. And like in the video said, you don't know if it's the student or the parent doing it. Or the parent might not know how to do it, and when they do help them, they confuse the kid more. Those are kind of our first.
That's a nice discussion, you know, busy work versus helpful work. So if it's just for busy, not really helping the kids, so okay, that's really nice. Thank you for that discussion. The pros.
She had a really good idea about stress. She said that if they don't learn to be diligent earlier on in life, it may be hard for them to learn it later on. So it creates diligence. Like, in my idea on it is it should like homework can be very beneficial if it is limited and not to where it like not busy work. And I've seen homework where they have it where they read books with their family, so it influences that interaction with the family.
Wow, that's really nice. Okay, so have you heard about the Finland schooling system? Okay, I Actually, I have a video to show.
You might have to press podium or laptop, whichever one you do.
There.
Let's suppose that you're writing a really important email to a colleague.
Well, skip.
So here's what happened. Back in the day, Finland schools sucked on the level that ours suck on. When they tested the world's kids, both Finland and us were usually about the same, somewhere down the list of nations. But Finland didn't like that. So they tried some new ideas, and in no time, Finland shot to the top of the world. Their students were number one. How did they do that? That was the one question I wanted an answer to, and I went straight to see the enemy's Minister of Education. Before I could say anything, she blurted out their top secret.
They do not have homework.
Wait, so you reduced the homework you give them in school?
Yes. They should have more time to be kids, to be youngsters, to enjoy the life.
So they have no homework. Well, what if all they want to do is climb a tree?
They can climb a tree. Yeah. They can climb a tree and they learn how to climb a tree. But they end up, while climbing the tree, probably finding out about different insects, and they can come to school next day tell me about what they found.
Compared to the older kids, how many hours a day do the younger ones go to school?
Mondays 3 hours, Tuesdays 4 hours. It varies. It's 20 hours a week.
So they're, oh man. Now, does this 3 or 4 hours of school include the lunch hour?
Yes.
How are they learning anything? How are you getting anything done?
Your brain has to relax every now and then. If you just constantly work, then you stop learning. And there's no use of doing that for a longer period of time.
Finland students have the shortest school days and the shortest school years in the entire Western world. They do better by going to school less.
Here, it's so student-centered that when we had to redo our playground, they had the architects come in and talk to the kids.
Would they listen to?
Yes, there are things on our playground that the students really wanted.
We try to teach them to be happy person, to respect others and respect yourself.
You're concerned with their happiness.
Oh yeah,
What the hell do you teach?
I teach math.
So the math teacher says that the first thing out of your mouth of what you wanted these students to get out of school was to be happy, have a happy life.
Yeah.
And you're the math teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. That short. So what do you feel about the video that you just saw?
Going to school for 3 hours plus lunch is crazy.
What?
Just because we would go to school for like 6.5 hours and have like a 30-minute lunch and like 2 10-minute recesses. So like the thought of a 3-hour school day's crazy.
I think I would enjoy school way more, but it's if it's reduced. Because I get excited about some classes, but if they're too stressful, I no longer get excited about it.
It's
and
like
I no
the
longer learn.
sort of proximal development or
Yeah.
whatever. If it's too easy, like they don't learn, but if it's too hard, they like give up. So I feel like if it was a little more would be a lot.
Actually, both of your like your opinions and your discussions are really valid. Both are great. So it should be helpful work, not busy work. That's that's what you're telling. It's okay to have homework, but it should be a helpful one. And on this side, it gives you stress. But if the work is something enjoyable, fun, and they can relate to that, it can really help them and motivate them to be better. One of the presidents in France said, when it comes to homework, the president said it should be done during school hours rather than at home to establish equal opportunities. How do you think about that? Can you talk to your hair again for just 1 minute, and then just before I end this?
I know they weren't, like, my mom hates math, and my dad, he's, like, okay at it. And so when I would go home with him, I've never liked math, because that's kind of like how I am. And they were really want to help me once I got to a certain level. And so, like, when she says it should be equal, like, some people might have parents who are really good at math, and
found that I
feel
was
so,
way
and
better
there's
in
people
classes that
that
were
are me
smaller.
whose parents can't help them with math. So when I do go home,
Studies
I
have
start trying to figure out all
supported
of
that
my
because it
so it's not equal.
interaction
you know?
more. But yeah, I think that's essential if you're to
Just,
limit school and limit homework. You have to have more quality time if you're not having the quantity.
Have to do homework at home.
Yeah.
More teachers will have to be hired.
Actually, in Finland and
No, that's a
Singapore,
good question.
they raised the
Like,
salary of
is it-
teachers, and they give more
Schooling should be
payment
equal,
as
so
salary to
homework,
those who are
is it
like,
equal?
like excellent teachers.
And my
And
reason
I
why
get
it's not is because
teachers
some
in
people,
China
when they go
or in
home,
the
their parents
Philippines,
really want to help them, and some people
it's
it's
really hard to kind of like, yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Well, I hope you learned something from this discussion today, that homework isn't a bad thing as long as it's helpful to us, and if we don't give you students a lot of homework that is really stressful, that it can take you away from the real life of enjoying having a social interaction with other people, with your family, and enjoying being a kid. Okay, so because of that, I'm not going to give you homework. Your homework is to enjoy your time with your family this weekend. So will you do that?